It's fine, it's just a few seconds. Actually, no, it's not even a few seconds. That's like 10 minutes of stuff. But 10 minutes of, well, it's 10 minutes of stuff. Yeah, I guess. Okay. But yeah, so. Chat just blink. No, you guys didn't see anything? Yes. I'm reading Surrounded by Idiots as an idiot myself with a bunch of idiot friends. This is what audio should have been. I wish it could have been. I don't know. I actually don't listen to any audiobooks myself. But yeah. So yes. Let me just restart that 1 minute of us reading I've already done. Chapter 1. Okay, wait, no. Okay. I should have an idiot counter. You know what? That is true. I should have that. I have. Good evening, welcome in. I am already an idiot. Okay, I cannot actually do a very quick setup here, but I can just do this manually. Idiot counter. I do have a counter set up on my laptop, but it's just not here today. Idiot counter. 1. Oh, okay, never mind. It's 2 now because you know what? Yeah, 2. Yes. And then what? You know what? I'm just gonna use that. Okay, imagine the entire book doesn't have a single idiot apart from the title. No, there is that word that's kind of in the beginning, I guess. Okay, there you go. Idiot counter. Yes. Okay, let me just put it right here. Idiot counter. Okay, there you go. Apparently I muted my mic for a bit, but yes, it's fine. Let me just yeah, oh, can I just make this counter as a alpha as an idiot counter? You know what, that is this an idiot counter. There you go. We're just gonna do it like that. There you go. Can I just make this center and just free? Okay, there you go. Okay, there you go. Yes, I have been an idiot for 3 times today. Okay, that is very nice. I'll just for the 15 minutes of the stream, I have been an idiot. Yes, okay. Let me just go all the way back to the start. And then I'm gonna restart this because I'm dumb. Okay. Yep. That makes sense. I'm just gonna put that to the side, I think. But that's not right. Okay, let me hydrate a bit first. Okay. Communication happens on the listener's terms. Does that sound strange? Let me explain. Everything you say to a person is filtered through his frames of reference, biases, and preconceived ideas. What remains is ultimately the message that he understands. For many different reasons, he can interpret what you want to convey in a totally different way than you intended. What is actually understood will, naturally, vary depending on who you're speaking to. But it is very rare that the entire message gets through exactly as you conceived it in your mind. It may feel depressing knowing that you have so little control over what your listener understands. No matter how much sense you would like to knock into the other person's head, there is not that much you can do about it. This is one of the many challenges of communication. You simply can't change how the listener functions. However, most people are aware of and sensitive to how they want to be treated. By adjusting yourself to how other people want to be treated, you become more effective in your communication. And why is this so important, you may ask? You help other people understand you by creating a secure arena for communication on their terms. Then the listener can use his energy to understand rather than to consciously or unconsciously react to your manner of communicating. All of us need to develop our flexibility and so be able to vary our style of communication, adapting it when we speak to people who are different from us. $20? No, I don't have money. No, but yes, thank you for the 20 stream recap. Here we find another truth. No matter what method you choose to communicate with, as an individual, you will always be in the minority. No matter what kind of behavior you have, the majority of people around you will function differently from you. You can't just base your method of communication on your own preferences. Flexibility and the ability to interpret other people's needs is what characterizes a good communicator. Can smell? No. Oh god, wait. You were like 90. Oh god, you're like 90, 92 or 93 now. Ah, crap. Oh, 40, 16. Okay. Knowing and understanding another person's style of behavior and method of communication will result in more educated guesses about how a person may possibly react in various situations. This understanding will also dramatically increase your ability to get through to the person in question. No system is perfect. Let me be clear about one important point. This book doesn't claim to be totally comprehensive with respect to how we, as people, communicate with each other. No book can do that because the number of signals we constantly transmit to those around us wouldn't fit into any book. Even if we could include body language, the differences between male and female dialogue, cultural differences, and all the other ways to define variations in communication, we wouldn't be able to write everything down. We could add psychological aspects, graphology, age, and astrology, and still not get a 100% complete picture. According to the American Journal of Business Education, released July or August 2013, more than 50 million assessments have been made using the DISA tool. And yet, with all this information, communication remains a fascinating and puzzling topic. People are not Excel spreadsheets. We can't calculate everything. We're way too intricate to be described in full. Even the youngest child is far more intricate than anything that could be conveyed in a book. However, we can avoid the most blatant blunders by understanding the basics of human communication. We see what we do, but we do not see why we do what we do. Thus, we assess and appraise each other through what we see that we do. These words come from the psychoanalyst Carl Jung. Different behavior patterns are what creates dynamism in our lives. When I refer to behavior patterns, I don't just mean how a person acts in a single instance, his actions, but rather the whole set of attitudes, beliefs, and approaches that govern how a person acts. We can recognize ourselves in certain behavior patterns, but other forms of behavior we neither recognize nor understand. Besides, each of us acts differently in different situations, which can be a source of either joy or irritation for those around us. Though individual actions can, of course, be right or wrong, there is really no pattern of behavior that is right or wrong. There is no such thing as proper behavior or incorrect behavior. You are who you are, and there's no point in wondering why. Okay, you're fine no matter how you're wired, no matter how you choose to behave, no matter how you're perceived, you are fine. Within reasonable limits, of course. In a perfect world, it would be easy just to say, I'm a particular kind of person and it's okay because I read it in a book. That's just how I am and this is how I act. sure, wouldn't it be great not to have mishandled your own behavior? To always be able to act and behave precisely as you feel at the time. You can do that. You can behave exactly as you wish. All you have to do is find the right situation in which to do so. There are 2 situations in which you can just be you. The first situation is when you're alone in a room. Then it doesn't matter how you speak or what you do. It doesn't hurt anyone if you scream or swear, or if you just want to sit silently and ponder the great mysteries of life, or wonder why fashion models always look so mad. In your solitude, you can behave exactly the way you feel. Simple, isn't it? The second situation, where you can completely be yourself, is when all the other people in the room are exactly like you. What did our mothers teach us? Treat others as you want to be treated. Excellent advice and very well intentioned. And it works too, as long as everyone is just like you. All you need to do is make a list of all the people you know who believe, think, and act exactly like you in all situations. Now just give them a call and start hanging out. In any other situation, it might be a good idea to understand how you are perceived and to learn how other people function. I don't think I will make headlines by saying that most people you meet aren't like you. Words can have incredible power, but the words we choose and how we use them vary. As you have seen from the title of this book, there are different interpretations of, yes, you got it, words. And when you use the wrong word, well, maybe then you're an idiot. Hi, welcome in. It's very comfy. I keep dehydrating myself and hydrating myself stream, yes. We are all idiots here. Perfect. Surrounded by idiots, or not? What does this actually mean? As I was writing, the following analogy hit me. Behavior patterns are like a toolbox. All types are needed. Depending on its occasion, a tool can sometimes be right and sometimes be wrong. A 30-pound sledgehammer is great for tearing down walls, but it's hardly the thing if you want to hang a picture in the foyer. Some people are opposed to the idea of sorting people into different behavior types. Maybe you believe that you shouldn't categorize people in that way. That it's wrong to pigeonhole people. However, everyone does it, perhaps in another way than I do in this book. But we all register our differences nonetheless. The fact remains that we are different, and in my opinion, pointing that out can sometimes be can be something positive if you do it in the right way. Oh, thank you for that, Jake. Improperly used, every tool can be harmful. It's more about the person using it than the tool itself. This book is your introduction to human behavior and dialogue. The rest is up to you. Parts of what you're going to read, I have gathered from the TTI Success Insights. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Sun Gelberb and Edward I cannot say this. Edward? I am the idiot. Okay. It is supposed to be this. I'm just gonna write it out because I cannot pronounce this. Edward. I don't know why it feels like I'm just saying Edward with a Japanese accent. Edward. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, these two. Yes. Okay. For generously sharing both their experience and their training materials. These two. These two. No matter how strange it might be, no matter how strange it might seem in theory, every kind of behavior is normal. There are different... I guess I could just list this out. Okay. Normal behavior is relatively predictable. Every person reacts in a habitual manner in similar situations, but it's impossible to predict every possible reaction before it happens. It is a part of a pattern. We often react in consistent patterns. Therefore, we should respect one another's patterns and understand our own. It is changeable. We should learn to listen, act, speak openly, and reflect in order to do what is relevant right now. Everyone can adapt. It can be observed. We should be able to observe and consider most forms of behavior without being amateur psychologists. Everyone can take note of the people around them. It is understandable. We should be able to understand why people feel and do what they do right now. Everyone can think about why. It is unique. Despite the conditions that we have in common, each person's behavior is unique to them. Succeed in your own conditions. It is excusable. Dismiss personal jealousy and complaints. Learn to have tolerance and patience, both with yourself and with each other. And this is chapter 1. Okay. Now, I hydrate first. Okay. Hey, hi Presto, good morning. Welcome to a reading stream with Lofi. Thank you for the care application already. I should really just make them into like alerts as well, so that I can try here when it's being redeemed. Chapter 2. Why are we the way we are? Where does our behavior come from? Why are people so different? Search me. Very briefly, it's a combination of heredity and environment. Even before we are born, the foundations for the behavior patterns we will exhibit in adulthood have been laid. The temperament and character traits we have inherited affect our behavior, a process already begun at the genetic stage. Exactly how this works is still a bone of contention among scientists. But all are in agreement that it does come into play. Not only do we inherit traits from our own parents, but also from their parents, also in varying degrees from other relatives. At some point or another, we have all heard that we speak like or look like an uncle and an aunt. As a child, I resembled my Uncle Berto, something to do with my red hair. To explain how this is genetically possible would take a tremendous amount of time. For the moment, let us just establish that this inheritance lays the foundation for our behavioral development. What happens once we are born? In most cases, children are born impulsive, adventurous, without any barriers whatsoever. A child does exactly what he wants. The child says, "No, I don't want to," or "Sure, I can." He is immersed in the thought that he can manage just about anything at all. This kind of spontaneous and sometimes uncontrolled behavior is, of course, not always what his parents wished for. Then, hey presto, what was once an original pattern of behavior begins to transform, in the best or worst case scenario, into a copy of someone else. Got the I got the boba. I literally just when I started the game, I just like put it on there for a bit, and then hey, there you go. Why redeem the bang? Also, I don't think the bang worked. Oh god, no, never mind. It worked. It just took some time. You resist on a second. Yeah. I still have like 2. Hey, I have this. I can actually just put it out. Let me bring the boba out, and it's already purple, so yeah. We stick with the purple. Right now I'm just getting the second one. Wait, how does it look when I pet it? Oh, this is cute. Okay. Let's continue this. How are children influenced? Children learn and develop in multiple ways, but the most common is by imitation. A child mimics what he sees around him, the parents of the same sex often becoming the model for imitation. This is clearly not an exhaustive study on how the process works, as this book is not about how we influence our children. The core values. My core values are found deep within me, values so deeply embedded in my character that it's almost impossible to change them. Wait, let me add this. Right now we don't need this yet. I mean, you can do, but let me just add a layer to that, and then let me do this. And then I'm just gonna like fill this up. Not with this color, no. Fill up. There you go. Wait, no. No. How do I can always just move this one up. Yeah, no, okay, let me just do that first. And then wanna move that. Because I don't want to just get rid of this part. I need the I am the idiot part there. Because this is just a bunch of circles. It's like it just looks like the layers of earth kind of thing, but it's not really. It's hard to describe. Yes. Okay. Let me just lasso this again. Then do that. Okay. Now I can just like draw on this here. Okay. Let me. There you go. I'll just write on this. Okay. So how this goes? The core values. Oh god. I need to balance this. Where is it? Stabilization. There you go. Oh god. Okay. Core values. And then there's the attitudes. It's fine, it's not perfect, it's good. And then we have the core behavior. And then we have the moderated behavior. And then the final one is the environment. Yes. There you go. Let me move it just a bit in like that. Okay, as long as you guys can kind of see it. And so it basically just keeps spreading out from the core values. It's just like that. Just keeps going out. Yeah. This is what is happening. Yes. And the environment just brings it back in, apparently. Yeah. So that is how children are influenced, or how honestly how people are influenced in a way. Okay. So core values. My core values are found deep within me. Values so deeply embedded in my character that it's almost impossible to change them. These are the things I learned from my parents as a child, or that I learned in school when I was very young. In my case, it was different variations of study and do well in school, or fighting is wrong. The latter, for example, means that I've never laid hands on another person. I haven't fought since 3rd grade, and I seem to recall that I lost then. She was really strong. Another important core value is that all people are of equal worth, because my parents demonstrated this to me during my childhood. I know it is deeply wrong to judge a person based on his or her origin, sex, or color. All of us carry much such core values. We know instinctively what is right and what is not. No one can take these core values away from me. Attitudes and approaches. The next layer is my attitudes, which are not exactly the same thing as core values. Attitudes are things I have formed opinions about based on my own experiences or on conclusions I have drawn from encounters in the latter parts of my schooling, high school, college, or my first job. Even experiences later on in life can form attitudes. Oh, hi Darius. Yes. This is the celebration stream for helping me reach 800, and I'm reading a book. A relative once told me that she didn't trust salespeople. She's definitely not alone in having strong feelings about salespeople, but in her case, it resulted in comical practices. She couldn't buy anything without returning it. A sweater, a sofa, a car. The buying process was endless. Every fact had to be examined and explored. No matter how much research she did beforehand, she always wanted to return her purchases afterwards. Good evening, Cross! Yes, came from the Souls game Rager. Oh, and yes, thank you, Cross. Thank you. Ah, ears. Okay. Yes. Is the Rager still raging? Oh god. Or wait, she's still fighting the. Oh yeah, she's still fighting the gladiator. Damn. Yeah. Do we get Nia? Nope, you do not. You have to redeem the voice thingy to get that. You do not get a bonus for this. If I say it's just cat ears, then it's just cat ears. Okay. Once I had observed the pattern, I asked her why she did this, and she explained the reasoning behind her attitude. 85% of all salespeople were swindlers, explaining that I too was a salesperson had little effect. To this day, I don't know if I belong to the 85% or if I can count myself among the fortunate 15%. The important thing is that an attitude can change. My relative had probably been badly fooled a number of times and therefore learned to distrust salespeople. However, if she had a number of positive experiences, her opinion could change. Now, the results. Both my core values and my attitudes affect how I choose my behavior. Together, they form my core behavior, the real person I want to be. My core behavior is how I act in complete freedom, without the influence of any external factors at all. You probably already see the issue here. When are we ever completely free from external influences? When I discuss this question with groups of people in different contexts, we all usually agree, only when we're sleeping. But people are different. Some don't care. They are always themselves because they've never reflected upon how they're perceived. The stronger your self-understanding is, the greater your probability of adapting to the people around you. Hi, Chai! Good evening. Welcome to reading stream. Welcome to this very badly drawn graph. And also me just knocking at my ears again because they're cute. Okay. Welcome, welcome. Hope you had a very nice day. How do others really perceive me? The people around you most often see your moderated behavior. You interpret a specific situation and make a choice about how to act based on that evaluation. This is the behavior that others around you experience. It's all about the mask you wear to fit into a given situation. We all have several different masks. Having one at work and one at home isn't that unusual. And another one for visiting the in-laws, perhaps. This book is not an advanced course in psychology, but I am content to establish that we interpret situations differently and act accordingly. Consciously or subconsciously, surrounding factors cause me to choose a particular course of action. And this is how we act. Look at this formula. There is formula, guys. This is a math stream. Yes. Can I just... no, maybe not this here. Behavior equals F. SF. Okay. So this is the formula. It's the persona. Oh god. And then let me just add to the counter. 4. There you go. I am an idiot for the 4th time today. Okay. So behavior. Behavior is a function of personality and surrounding factors. Behavior is that which we can observe. Personality is what we try to figure out. Surrounding factors are things that we have an influence on. In conclusion, we continually affect one another in some form or another. The trick is to try to figure out what's there under the surface. And this book is all about behavior. And this is chapter 2. I got the wait. Hydrate. Yes. Okay. And then the third would be the introduction to the system, which includes the 4 types of personality. But before that, I just got... I did not enjoy how my nose keeps itching because of the weather. It's so annoying. It always happens in the summer. Okay. Now, time for chapter 3. Let me check something. Okay, skip. Okay. Okay, now I know what that would be. So let me just move this down. Moving that down doesn't really help, but I can just kind of fill this in again. And then just do that. There you go. Then let's just do that. And now, yes, okay. This is, what is this called? Task. Oh. Task. Oriented. In. It's true oriented. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, 3. An introduction to the system. At the end of this book, you will find a description of the background to how the DISA system emerged. But since you probably want to dive into its most interesting elements, how everything works in practice, you can just read on. And so yes, we're just gonna keep reading on. So, okay. So, let me also just get this out. So there's blue, red, green, and yellow. The blue one is analytical. And then the red one is dominant. And then we have the green one, which is stable. And finally we have the yellow, which is inspiring. There you go. So, the 4 main categories, each of which is associated with a color. This book is about how you can recognize them. Quite soon, as you start reading about the different colors, various faces will come to mind, sometimes maybe even yours. About 80% of all people have a combination of 2 colors that dominates their behavior. Approximately 5% have only 1 color that dominates behavior. The others are dominated by 3 colors. Throughout the book, I focus on the single colors individually because they are the fundamental components of a person's behavior. It's like a recipe. We need to understand all the ingredients before we bake the cake. Entirely green behavior, or green in combination with another color, is the most common. The least common is entirely red behavior, or red behavior in combination with another color. Many people you meet possess qualities that you sometimes wish you had. You may even feel jealous of these people. They easily master things that you struggle with. Maybe you would like to be more decisive like reds. Or maybe you wish it were easier for you to interact with strangers like yellows. Possibly, you wish that you didn't stress so much, that you could just take it easy like greens do. And perhaps you wish that you could keep your schedule in better order. Something that's natural for blues. Naturally, it works the other way as well. You're going to read things that will help you realize that you too boss around others a bit too much, just like reds tend to do. Or that you talk way too much, something that yellows do. It might be that you take things way too easy, not getting involved in anything, the green's weakness. Or you're always suspicious of everything, seeing risk everywhere, just like blues. Here you can learn to see your own pitfalls and how you can take appropriate measures to get around them. No matter what you learn about yourself and others, take notes, underline things, and engage with the material. Okay. So, let's see. Okay. So blue, the analytical one. Can I just... so this is that. And then what would be the red one? How would the red one be? Like that. Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Nori. And then the inspiring one. How would that be? Future impulsive, maximum effect to involve. I have no idea. Sorry. No, okay, because the blue one. Okay, so for the analytical one is no reaction, maximum effort to organize, minimal interest in relationships, historical time frame, cautious action, and tendency to avoid involvement. And then the dominant one, the red one, is quick reaction, maximum effort to control, minimum interest for caution and relationships, current time frame, direct action, tendency to avoid involvement. And then the stable one is calm reaction, maximum efforts for connection, minimum interest in change, current time frame, supportive action, tendency to reject conflict. And then inspiring is rapid reaction, maximum effort to involve, minimum interest in routine, future time frame, impulsive action, tendency to reject isolation. Those are the 4. We'll just kind of like a quick rundown of those. And then there's also some words that are associated with each one. Why is stable green and why do they... Why? Tendency to reject conflict. Blah blah blah. I mean, or you could... No, you know what? You could be yellow because you know here it says that. Or that you talk way too much. Something that yellows do. Okay. Let's see. Some keywords. Okay, keywords for blue is function. I cannot say that. I cannot say that. So for blue, systematic, distant, correct, conventional, seems insecure, objective, structured, analytical, blah blah blah, meticulous, reflecting, reserved. Green is patient, relaxed, self-controlled, reliable, composed, loyal, modest, understanding, nymphy, stable, prudent, discreet, supportive, good listener, helpful, producer, persistent, and conceals feeling, considerate, and kind. Yellow is talkative, enthusiastic, persuasive, creative, optimistic, social, spontaneous, expressive, charming, full of vitality, self-centered, sensitive, adaptable, inspiring, needs attention, encouraging, imaginative, easygoing. I definitely keep skipping a few. Yep. It's fine, you can keep yapping. Okay, and then the red, the last one is aggressive, ambitious, strong-willed, goal-oriented, pushing, problem solver, pioneer, decisive, innovator, impatient, controlling, convincing, powerful, initiator, speed, timekeeper, intense, straightforward, independent. Yes. So these are how this book categorizes. Yeah, the four behavior types. These are how they're being categorized. Okay. And so yeah, I guess inspiring would just be this. Actually, no, I have the perfect idea now. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do it like that. Is that better with starry eyes? With the saintly eyes, is that better? There we go. Okay. No, wait, and that's chapter 3. Let me just hydrate first. Okay. So now... let me like copy this. Can I just... Ow! What? Okay, there you go. And then let me just like this. And then we zoom in. We zoom in because now we're gonna talk about the red one first. Yes. The red behavior. Like this there. Okay. There you go. Oh. Wait, no, that is not it. This one. Yes. Oh. This is what we talk about first. Dominant one. Okay. Chapter 4. Rat Behavior. How to recognize a real alpha and avoid getting in his way. What should we do? We'll do it my way. Now. This is the behavior type that Hippocrates in his theory of human temperament called choleric. Nowadays, you might call a rat person bold, ambitious, driven, but also potentially hot-tempered, rash, or dominant. You'll quickly notice a rat person because he doesn't make the slightest effort to conceal who he is. A rat person is a dynamic and driven individual. He has goals in life that others may find difficult to even imagine. Since his goals are so highly ambitious, achieving them seems to be impossible. Rats drive forward, always pushing themselves harder, and they almost never give up. Their belief in their own ability is unsurpassed. They carry inside them the firm belief that they can achieve anything, if they just work hard enough. People who have lots of rat in their behavior are task-oriented extroverts, and they enjoy challenges. They make quick decisions and are often comfortable taking the lead and taking risks. A common perception is that rats are natural leaders. These are people who willingly take command and go to the fore. They are so driven that they will get through despite any obstacle in their path. Their disposition is ideal in competitive situations. It's not unusual for a CEO or a president to have lots of rat in his behavior. This form of competition is present in everything rats do. To say that they constantly want to challenge and compete is probably not entirely true. But if a chance of winning something arises, why not? The exact nature of the competition is unimportant. It's the competitive element that keeps rat running on all cylinders. Pell, one of my former neighbors, liked competing so much that he developed entirely new interests just to compete. I like working in the garden, and so I spent quite some time doing so. Pell didn't like gardening, but when he had heard people commenting on my beautiful garden often enough, he finally had enough. He started one project after another, always with a single but very clear objective: to outdo me. He confounded his wife by digging new flower beds, planting a rainbow of unbelievably fabulous plants, and cultivating the lawn to golf course standard. The only thing I needed to do to keep him going was to merely suggest that I would purchase more plants. Then he would go to the local garden center quicker than you could say bad loser. You can also recognize rats by other behavior patterns. Who talks the loudest? Rats. Who goes all out when explaining something? Rats. Who's always the first to answer a question? Rats again. Who, during an otherwise pleasant dinner, makes categorical comments on just about any topic? And who will judge an entire country based on something he saw on television? Rats. Something is always happening in the lives of rat people. They can't sit still. Idle time is wasted time. Life is short. Better get going immediately. Do you recognize the type? Always on the go. So step aside. Let's get cracking. So rats, yes. Impulsive, but also they just go for it. Yeah. It's so funny how the CC are picking up rats as rats. Wait, what? Picking up? Oh my god. Damn. Well, the cows. Do you know? Not just let the CC keep going. It knows what it's doing, you know. Oh, hey, wait! I got a new spirit. Hey. Oh. Oh. Wait, it's so cute. Okay, this is also just me playing the game. Oh, Wessenot. Okay. Okay. And there we have the Wessenot. And then what is the last one? Oh, I have to wait until my levels increase. Okay. Because waxy. Okay. Let me hydrate. Okay. Tell me what you really think. Yes, for real. Rats have no problem being blunt. When asked a specific question, they often say exactly what they think, without any frills. They see no need to wrap things up in a bunch of empty phrases. When a thought pops in their head, everyone knows it immediately. They have opinions on most things, and they trot their thoughts out quickly and efficiently. A common remark is that rats are very honest, because they dare to express their personal truths to people. They don't really understand what the fuss is about. They've only said things as they are. If you need someone with extra energy, you may want to invite a rat into the team or project group. They fight tirelessly along when others have already given up. If they're determined to succeed, that is. A task that has become humdrum or meaningless could be totally ignored by a rat. I call this phenomenon log of split. If the task is important enough, a rat will go through fire and water to complete it. If he feels it has no purpose, into the trash it goes. Okay, have a good day outside. Alright, stay safe. I'll talk to you later, bye. Okay, so rat people see themselves as driven, resolute, ambitious, decisive, competitive, independent, prompt, determined, time-conscious, persuasive, strong-willed, or results-oriented. Thank you for the care package. Okay. Let's see. Can I win something? In that case, I'm in. So, rats like competing. They appreciate the slight antagonism that is part of being competitive and the glorious moment of winning. They even enjoy winning competitions that probably don't even exist, except perhaps in their own mind. It can be passing a snow walker on the street, finding the absolutely best parking spot, or dominating the family game of Monopoly. Despite the fact that the purpose of the game is to entertain the kids and none of the other adults actually competing. For a rat, this is all natural because he sees himself as a winner. Let me give you an example. I once worked for a company where the CEO was red. He was energetic and efficient, and consequently incredibly dynamic. No meetings were as short and sweet as those run by the CEO. But his weak spot was the competitive element. As a young man, he had played soccer, and every spring at this particular workplace they held a soccer tournament. It was very popular even before he joined the company. Naturally, he had to take part. No other CEO before him had ever done so, but that wasn't the problem. The problem was that as soon as he got out of the field, he became a different person. On fire with his competitive drive, he threatened anyone who stood in his way. This continued for a few years until someone had the guts to tell him that he played just a little bit too rough. The game wasn't supposed to be that serious. The CEO didn't understand. He grabbed the latest flyer for the game and pointed out that it was called a soccer tournament. Tournaments are competitions, and if you compete, you're in it to win. Simple. He competed in traffic, on the soccer field, and business. No area was too insignificant not to become a competition. He even raced to see how quickly he could finish reading a book. What others do for relaxation, he transformed into a competition. 100 pages an hour was a reasonable pace. His wife had even banned him from playing a memory card game with his children, who were 5 and 6 years old. Since they had better memories than he did, they won most of the time, and in his frustration, he intimidated him. If you conclude that this guy sounds rather unsympathetic, we need to look at his intention. This kind of intensive and competitive behavior often upsets other people, because they think it is all about dominating and suppressing others. Nothing could be further from the truth. His intentions were almost never malicious. He just wanted to win. This is one of the greatest challenges for rats. It's not uncommon that other people feel irritated or intimidated by them, because they're such powerful personalities. Okay, let's wait for the ad to finish first. I also have to go get some stuff. Or just, hey, let me see. where's my... Okay, there it is. My bangs are getting in my eyes again. So, oh god, I have to Okay, the outbreak is done. I mean, I am going to the what is it called, to the hair salon on like first day, so I just have to wait until then. So I don't have to cut my bangs, but I should also just cut them because they're too long. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. Simple ways to deal with the rats. Okay, so that is in the future. But we're gonna just keep understanding how rats are. Well, time is money. Quick is synonymous with good for rats. If you are in a meeting and suddenly notice that one of the other participants is devoting his time to something completely different, it may well be a rat who has lost interest. If you look closer, you will realize that his thoughts are elsewhere, on the next step in the process being discussed, for example. Because rats are quick thinker, they move on long before everyone else. Few things annoy rats more than sluggishness. If a meeting or discussion drags on, he may interrupt and ask if it's really necessary to prolong the issue. We've already discussed this for 20 minutes, get it together. It's only a few million investments, how hard can it be? If you think about it, they're often right. When other people may find it difficult to make a decision, rats are prepared to make quick decisions in order to keep things moving. With a rat on the team, nothing will be discussed ad infinitum. After all, it's always better to do something rather than nothing, right? The advantage is obvious. We're talking about people who never waste time on anything that doesn't move forward. As soon as a task becomes unclear or is taking too long, a rat will ensure that the momentum is maintained and spur things along. Chop chop, then double time. About 15 years ago, I began working for a small consulting company with about a dozen employees. It was a Polish organization with a great spirit of entrepreneurship and excellent momentum in business dealings. One of the reasons why they were so efficient was because the founder of the company was a rat. Nothing could move too quickly for John. No meeting took longer than was absolutely necessary. In my second or third week in the new job, I was sitting in a traffic jam when my cell phone rang. I looked at the display and saw that it was John. I answered the way I'd been instructed to when I started at the company, with a greeting, my name, and the company name. Impatiently, he then interrupted me and spit out his question. "Were you looking for me?" "No," I replied, and took a deep breath. "Why did you say something else?" "I didn't get a chance." "Okay," he said, and hung up. 8 seconds. Unpleasant? Well, at the time we didn't really know each other. However, I must admit that the whole episode had me worried a little, at least on that occasion. Only 3 weeks at the company, and the big chief himself's cause, and sounding irritated. When we'd gotten to know each other, and I learned that John was red, I asked him why he was so abrupt on the phone. Of course, he didn't even remember the call, but he said he was probably just trying to find out if I was looking for him. When he learned I wasn't, there was no further need to talk. Wasting time on polite flowery phrases or drawn-out farewells wasn't for him. But at the same time, he was a person with a capacity to work far more than normal. John managed to do more in an average working day than most people. He still has an exceptional ability to make the most of any free time. If he has a gap of 5 minutes in his schedule, he manages to squeeze in an email, a phone call, and go through some meeting minutes. From the outside, this may seem like an unnecessary pursuit of efficiency, but a rat detests inactivity. Things must happen. Add to this a sense of constant urgency, and a great deal will get done. The sky's the limit, or is it? For a rat, a realistic budget is a budget for cowards. If we don't push ourselves to the breaking point, we haven't tried hard enough. Rats love difficult tasks, so their level of ambition is usually boundless. The ability to manage difficult situations and challenges is the defining attribute of rat behavior. When a person with rat traits sets his goals, Several things happen. First, he wants to know how well a specific task under the most favorable conditions could be performed. If our 19 parameters were met, and we all gave it a little extra effort, the results would be phenomenal. This means that anything below that impossible level of excellence is boring, because there's at least a remote possibility of that result being achieved. Nothing is impossible. The impossible just takes a little longer. More than likely, it was a rat who came up with that expression. Hi, Anani. Going for your bedtime story. Yes. The bedtime story for today is surrounded by idiots. I am currently on one of the four behavior types: the red, the dominant, the alpha, impulsive, time-oriented. Yeah. And that is what we're reading. Yeah. Naturally, it's also about the type of project. It's not enough to just set an impossible sales budget. If a rat doesn't like sales, he will ignore the budget. Since he prefers to make all the decisions himself, he probably won't be fooled into doing something he doesn't feel like doing. Rats set higher demands on themselves than any of the other cunners would, and they are always prepared to work hard. I wouldn't go so far as to say that no other cunner works as hard as rats do, but I would venture to say that a rat would give anyone a run for his money. Ambition, which is intrinsic to rats, shouldn't be confused with a lust for power. Rats have no problem taking positions of power since they're fearless. Expressions like, "it's lonely and windy at the top," don't scare them. But for a rat, power is not an end in itself. It does, however, come in handy for those who like to make their own decisions and avoid having to wait for others. A rat can, in fact, be quite unassuming. It's true that he has a strong ego, but status and prestige don't have the same importance as with other cunners. The reason is simple. A rat usually doesn't care what others think. He's not here for their sake. He's here for his own. To tell you how things really are. A rat gives everything he's got. When he has an opinion about something, or if he wants the rest of us to agree with him, he pulls out all the stops. Once, I was in a meeting with a large number of people who didn't know one another that well. It was a gathering of consultations. Oh, thank you for the follow, Dania. Once I was in a meeting with a large number of people who didn't know one another that well. It was a gathering of consultants who were meeting to discuss a potential collaboration. It was in the middle of a recession, and we were all concerned about the lack of direction. While we were waiting for the chairperson to arrive, we chatted a little about everything. At one end of the table sat Elizabeth, who had strong opinions about everything. In an unequivocal voice, she suddenly stated that the company was still expected to earn over $15 million a week, despite the recession. About 15 consultants, all highly trained, reflective, and intelligent people, nodded in agreement. Just imagine, $15 million per week. While Elizabeth expanded on how the situation ought to be resolved in the consulting world, I began thinking about the figures a little bit. Not knowing where these figures came from, I remained silent. It could be true. It could also be far-fetched. I honestly didn't know. While waiting for the meeting to begin officially, I started calculating how much $15 million per week would be per year. I didn't have enough paper. After the meeting, I got the answer to my speculations. I was in a taxi on my way to my next meeting when the driver turned on the radio. In the news, it was announced that the company in question was expected to earn between $2 and $2.5 million per week. I realized that Elizabeth had gotten the information from the news. I also understood that $2 or $2.5 million per week was far more realistic than the $15 million that she had referred to. But wait a minute. A little reconciliation. Let me add to the counter. Where is it? Reconciliation? Reconciliation? I don't know. Little connection with reality is needed here. Why didn't anyone react? No one in the room lifted a finger or called her information into question. Why? Because she sounded so convincing. Her facial expression was definite. Her countenance was determined. And her voice did not quaver in the least when she presented her figures. That's the way rest function. When they believe something, they let people know that this is the only truth that exists. Now, maybe there are some sticklers for detail who might claim that this is deceptive, since we now know that the company earned $2.5 million a week and not roughly $15 million. But I'm convinced that Elizabeth really believed what she said. She had things turned around, no doubt about that, and she was certainly not interested in details. But my point is that by sounding utterly confident when she declared that the company was earning 6 months' revenue per week, we all fell for it. Or, in the words of a good friend of mine, there are 2 ways to do this, my way and the wrong way. Only bad fish go with the flow. Rest are both groundbreaking and strong-willed. Why not also add results-oriented and decisive when we're at it? For Raz, it's not sufficient to do things like everyone else does. And just because it's tough, doesn't mean we should avoid doing it. Raz aren't afraid to make decisions. When everyone else hesitates, thinking and weighing the risk, a rat makes the controversial decision. A rat's determination is usually unyielding. Once he's decided, then it's full steam ahead. Their fearlessness that dares them to tackle things that makes others hesitate. That is usually evident when things get rough, and they're undaunted by tough choices or tricky decisions. It is no coincidence that many entrepreneurs are rats. Setting up new businesses, especially if they're based on completely new business concepts, is, in our current economy, not for the faint of heart. It's not a bad thing to have a force of nature in the driver's seat. It takes a strong mind to move things forward, someone who understands that risks that are part of everyday life, and that everything boils down to hard work from morning to night, for many years. Rats understand this from the beginning and are in no way intimidated by it. Do you need someone to pursue a problem in your apartment complex? Maybe you've gotten on the wrong side of your landlord, who says that there is absolutely nothing wrong with the heat. Or maybe the contractor who repaired the roof and installed the new elevators was negligent and won't take responsibility for it. Anytime you try to get things straightened out, you've been brought to standstill by a barricade of unanswered calls and info addresses. You're just about to give up when you suddenly remember the guy on the second floor living above you. Isn't he kind of rat? Wasn't he the one who dared to go against the super at the last meeting and get the trash policy changed? Yes, that's the guy. Throw the guy from the second floor into the process, and then you'll see things begin to happen. You might have to motivate him a little, explaining that he has a lot to gain from it himself, but he will make things happen. He will subdue the landlord and get the contractor in line, and he won't lose any sleep just because someone got angry with him in the process. Generally speaking, arrest strings are very powerful. They are extremely clear in their communication, and you don't have to look too far to identify rat behavior. Of course, over the years, many rats learn to restrain themselves somewhat, but it doesn't usually last very long. They will be bred to full throttle, and all that entails. And now, just hydrate very quickly. It wasn't better before, onward and upward. A rat doesn't try to stick to his original point of view when he realizes that a better solution exists. He is a quick thinker and has no problem shifting his ground at short notice. One of the advantages of this is that he doesn't reject other people's ideas if he has none himself. It's worth looking into anything that can propel development forward. Yes, Anani, yes. Sometimes decisions can come a little bit too quickly, but the will to constantly change creates a strong dynamism and flexibility. If anything that has been static for a long time, maybe a few weeks, he will turn things up a notch. Some people may find this stressful, but when you ask a rat why he changed something that was actually working, the answer could well be, because I could. Naturally, there are also downsides. Rats get bored with the status quo quickly, and so they change it. The people around them have no idea what will happen next. When greens and blues have just gotten used to the new organization and think that they have finally grasped how things are supposed to work, well, a red will already have outlined the next step. Conclusions on rat behaviors. So what do you think? Do you know any rats? Do you have any around you? If you want to get to know some famous rat people, consider Steve Jobs, FDR, Venus Williams, or Margaret Thatcher. There is also Barack Obama and Mother Teresa. Oh yes, it's true. If you consider Mother Teresa's deeds, the strength she needed and whom she had to do with, the world's foremost leaders, to achieve what she did, then you realize that she was extremely determined and forceful. A typical rat profile. And that is all the rats, yes. We have seen that they do things very quickly, and that is stuff that I cannot follow up with. So I can very definitely say that I am not a rat. Okay. See. Oh god, wait, what did I do? Oh, I just did that. Okay. And then let's just move this, because now we're gonna talk about yellow behavior. No, wait. Here we go. We're gonna talk about this here. Okay. Yes. Okay. This one. And then yeah. Cancel. There you go. Oh yeah. Let me hydrate a bit more, and then we can start about the yellow ones. Yellow behavior. How to recognize someone whose head is in the clouds and get him back to reality again. That sounds fun, let me do it. In the Hippocratic world, we have now come to the sanguine person. What other words can we use to describe him? Optimistic and cheerful. A person with a bright outlook on life. The thesaurus even suggests that the epithet a man of possibilities. How about that? It is, in fact, an excellent description of yellow behavior. These are people who live to live, always finding opportunities for enjoyment. Life is a banquet, and Yanos will see to it that they savor every bite. They are driven by merriment and laughter, and why not? The sun is always shining somewhere. Do you know anyone who sees sunshine where others see dark clouds? Have you met anyone who can laugh even though he hasn't had any good news for months? Then you've met a Yano. Have you been at a party and wondered why everyone flocks around a particular person, man or woman? Well, in the center of the circle, there's a Yano, entertaining anyone who wants to laugh. Yanos make sure that the atmosphere is at its zenith, so that every event becomes a marvelous party. When something is no longer fun, they move on to another place where the atmosphere is better. Recognizing a Yano is easy. He's the one who's talking all the time. He's the one who gives answers rather than asking questions, often answering questions that no one has even asked. He answers a question by telling a story that may or may not have anything to do with the issue. But it really doesn't matter, because he will put you in a cheerful mood. Besides, his unshakably positive attitude also makes it impossible for you to feel upset for long. I would even go so far as to argue that Yanos are more popular than other colors. How can I say that? Look for yourself. They entertain, put people in a good mood, and fun things always happen around them. They know how to capture everyone's attention and how to keep it. They make us feel important. They are just nice to be around. They are also very typically touchy-feely people. Like rats, Yanos are very willing to make quick decisions, but they can rarely explain why using rational reasoning. A more likely response would be, it just felt right. And sure, gut feelings shouldn't be underestimated. Studies have shown that gut feelings are right more often than we think. But that's not the kind of gut feeling we're talking about here. Yanos often make decisions that are based on feeling simply because no thought was ever involved. I have a sister who is Yano. Marita is so easygoing in her manner that I have never heard anyone utter a single negative word about her. Never. I may be biased, but I have never met anyone who doesn't immediately like her. She has an entirely unique ability to connect with every person she meets. Oh, with these no-fights that studiers ever beaten, the brains have to be massive. They just have to keep studying. And you know, that works for me. Yeah. Honestly, I kind of want to have their ability to be able to study for a long time, because this is impressive. They just keep going and going. Yes. You know what? Oh wait, I leveled up. Let me go change. Hey, I can now unlock the last new one. What is this? I just have to expand this. Final player? Okay. Final. Okay. I have to go next to the player, just here, I think. And then the sounds is this one. There you go. Okay. Turn that down a bit. And then let me turn this up. I'm also just gonna change the lighting to light. This is a game called Spirit City Lo-Fi Sessions. And it's just a very nice little game that I can unlock cute stuff. Ah, my pen. Okay, I got the pen. It dropped, but that's fine. Yes. Which page is this? Okay, that is 29. Let me just send the name of the game. Lo-Fi Sessions. This should be the right name, yes. Okay, and you know what? Let me just pin that as well. To anyone who wants to check the game out. They don't know what this is. Yeah. That's the name, yes. Okay. Now going back to the Marita, the author's Yano sister. Marita always has something entertaining to say. However, some of these things are so peculiar that I sometimes have to ask her what she was thinking when she said them. With a burst of laughter, she usually replies, "Thinking? I wasn't." In many ways, it's liberating when I visit her and her husband leave. Their almost incomprehensible ability to see bright spots in everything around them is so delightful that it frees my own easygoing disposition. I am never as happy and exhilarated as when I visit them. For ears, Palm. let me finish. You know what? Never mind. I don't finish this. But welcome in, readers. No, Palm. How did you manage to get a boss? Yes, welcome in. I am Alpha, and I'm currently doing a quick 800 celebration stream by reading a book called Surrounded by Idiots, which is a psychology book on categorizing people into 4 behavior types. And it's very interesting. Four bosses that are not needed. Oh god. Ah yes, hello Sene. Idiot? I don't know. Yes. Yes. Let me... yes. Ow! 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 You see, I'm not doing anything. Okay. Okay. Came to the deepest darkness of the Elden Ring. First time seeing it and making strategies. So Palm can defeat it next time. But all of this happened last week. Yeah, I mean, it's the gladiator and he looks so tough. It seems like it's super hard to fight him, but yeah. Go hydrate. Yes, go. You crying out? No, don't cry. Go eat. That is what you should do. No, go eat and then go. Yes, get the energy so that we can defeat Sene later. Okay. Yeah. Just rest. Get past the book. Yeah. Hug past us. What? Huh? He's drinking too. I said nothing. Okay. Anyway, ability to see bright spots, solar nightfall frees my only seagoing disposition. For years, I wondered why this was, and have reached the conclusion that Yano behavior is simply contagious. If I say to my sister, "It looks like it is going to rain," she simply replies, "I can't imagine that." Pointing to the window, I say to her, "But look, it's actually raining. It is quite dark out there. We could have thunder before this is over." "Sure," she says, "but after that the sun will come out. Just wait and see." Then she laughs again. While the rain pours outside, she sits on the sofa, unabashedly having fun. And I, along with everyone else, laugh along because it's impossible to resist. The more the merrier. Your friends are my friends. People with lots of yellow in their behavior are focused on creating relationships. They are outgoing and can be extremely persuasive. They are enthusiastic, excited, and happy to talk about their feelings for others, and not infrequently, for complete strangers. Yanos can talk to anyone. They are not at all shy, perceiving most people they meet as pleasant. They even see strangers in a positive light. They are just friends you haven't met yet. Many people notice that Yanos are always smiling and laughing. That's undoubtedly one of the Yanos' strengths. Their optimism is invincible. Comments about how everything is going to hell are often met by remarks about what a beautiful view we have. Just like rats, Yanos have lots of energy. They find most things interesting, and Yano individuals are the most curious people you will ever meet. Everything new is enjoyable, and a great deal of Yano energy is spent finding new ways of doing things. Who gets the most holiday cards, do you think? Yanos. Most contacts in their cell phone? That's right, Yanos. Most friends on Facebook? You're getting the idea, Yanos. They have friends absolutely everywhere, and they're excellent at keeping in touch with everyone in order to keep up to date. Yanos want to know what's going on. They want to be where it's all happening, and they will make sure to be at every party. Yano people often see themselves as enthusiastic, charming, outgoing, inspiring, optimistic, flexible, open, creative, spontaneous, convincing, easygoing, and communicative. Yeah. Hydrate. This very quick. Okay. Isn't it amazing? I just love it to bits. If there is anything that why do I keep saying categorizes? No. If there is anything that characterizes... Okay, let me actually just add that to the counter. There you go. If there is anything that characterizes Yano behavior, it's unlimited optimism and enthusiasm. Enthusiasm. Few things can keep their good mood away for long. The Yano's entire being is concentrated on one thing: finding opportunities and solutions. In his day, Hippocrates called Yanos the sanguine ones. This simply means optimists. Nothing is really a problem. It will all sort itself out. It's neither here nor there that the world just happens to be full of worries and hardships. With their incredibly positive outlook on life, Yano individuals give joy to the people around them with their cheerful acclamations and entertaining jokes. I don't know where Yanos get their tremendous energy, but it's focused on having fun and devoting themselves to social togetherness. Everyone must be involved, and the Yano will not allow any... Oh god! Thank you for the 100 bits, Anami. I'm glad you're enjoying this, yes. Ouch. Mike, a good friend of mine, is Yano, and his life has included more than his fair share of challenges. His wife left him, his children have had problems at school, and on various occasions his employers have gone bankrupt, and he has lost his job. I can't even count how many times he's had a car accident, his home has been burgled, or he has been robbed of expensive items. Sometimes I hardly dare to answer the phone when I see that Mike is calling. To tell the truth, Mike is the most jinxed man I have ever met. But what's so curious about him is that none of this ever seems to bother him. Naturally, he's upset when accidents happen, but he can't stay upset for long periods of time. Inside, he just bubbles along most of the time. I remember one occasion when we were both quite young. He had just bought an old Alfa Romeo. It was a two-seater with 2 doors. Painfully rusty, it was nothing short of a miracle that it even held together. Mike had a car for about a week when he hit a lamppost and couldn't get out on the driver's side. When I heard about the accident, I was worried and called to see if he was okay. His answer? It was fine, I just got out the other door. The optimistic consultant strikes again. Since Yano individuals are so positive and cheerful, they spread joy and warmth to those around them. With their uncontrollable optimism, they demolish all opposition quite effectively. Who can be upset when there's someone pointing out the good things all the time? How could anyone fail to be inspired by a person who refuses to see half-empty glasses, who always sees the positive? One of my customers is a sales director for a pharmaceutical company. Pharmaceutical? Pharmacy. Pharmaceutical. 8. There you go. One of my customers is a sales director for a company. Marianne worked her way up my brain cell fried. If fried is like, what is it? Like, this is how it's see thingy. Yes, this is how it is. Pharmaceutical. Okay, that works. Yes, thank you. Pharmaceutical company. Marianne worked her way up in the company via what we call the long route. Her managers and co-workers all agree that she's been so successful simply due to one thing: her amazing ability to inspire those around her. On a number of occasions, I've watched her conduct sales meetings. I consider myself a decent motivator, but when Marianne gets going, you just have to take your hat off to her. Within a couple of minutes, the room is so inspired, if she were to ask the sailors to jump out the window, they would do it, even though they're on the 5th floor. She makes everything sound so simple. It's a great idea to jump out the window. We can do this. Let's jump. And the group jumps after her. With her optimism and bright outlook on life, she is phenomenal at getting people to achieve great feats, just by closing their eyes to anything negative. With sheer inspiration, she can inflate people's confidence to incredible levels. I once saw her dealing with an irate customer who felt 9. There you go. With a customer who felt mistreated by her organization. Not a situation most people dream about. It turned out it wasn't a problem for Marianne. By just smiling steadfastly at the customer and refusing to listen to his negative comments, she moved him from an angry face to a gentle smile, and finally to boisterous laughter. How could that happen? I don't think that even she could explain the underlying process. It simply came naturally to her. What happens if we turn everything upside down? You won't find anyone more resourceful than a Yano. If there is anything Yanos have an aptitude for, it's seeing solutions where others do not. Yanos have the unique ability to twist and turn things. To put it simply, they turn everything upside down and think outside the box. Call it what you want, but their thinking doesn't always follow any set pattern. They move quickly. The Yanos intellect is very fast, which means that it can be difficult to keep up. Sometimes they can even find it difficult to explain their wild ideas. A good friend of mine likes to work on his home. Everything relating to interior design and garden design fascinates him. I suspect that Robin would secretly rather work in design on a full-time basis instead of his actual job. I've seen this for myself, but I've also heard from his wife how he goes about things. He walks around the garden, and she starts counting backwards from 10. On 7, Robin says, "Honey, I have an idea." There are a few reasons for Robin's creativity. It's easy for him to think in images. He can simply see things in front of him long before they even exist.
And he has courage. He's not afraid to try new things, or to talk about them. Usually, his mouth works parallel to his mind as he discovers these ideas. I've worked with a Yano who couldn't even cross the street without coming up with a few really thought-provoking business ideas, just by looking around. How does this work? I don't really know. For a long time, we asked him to write down his proposals. You'll learn more about how a Yano would react to that kind of structure when we start talking about weaknesses. Yanos are also helped by the fact that they rarely have any limitations. A Yano dares to go beyond the usual conventions when he's in a creative mode. Normally, of course, structure and the hierarchy in the business are a kind of limitation, but Yanos are rarely concerned about such things. In fact, they often don't seem to know that such limitations are there. Need help with new suggestions or ideas? Hunt out the most Yano person you know. Are you stuck in the same way of thinking? Do you need a new perspective on an old problem? Speak to a Yano. You might not be able to use whatever idea scheme they come up with. In fact, realism isn't a factor for a Yano. But one thing can lead to another, and then all of a sudden you have something that works. Sending snow to a penguin. With all their energy and optimism, Yanos are very persuasive. It's easy for them to get carried away, seeing opportunities and solutions where others might only see a dead end. It's often said that there is a difference between convincing and persuading, and many Yanos cross these boundaries. But what they say sounds so good. With the help of language, they really are masters at winning over people to their side. Regarding language, as I described in the chapter on body language, page 106, most Yanos have a rich and varied ways of gesticulating, so that they can convince you not with just their words, but with their entire bodies. Hi Ado, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the idiot counter, and I'm just currently reading Surrounded by Idiots because I got to 800 on Twitch. And this book is just perfect to read. And yeah, I hope you've been doing well, and I hope that it's not as busy as it was before. Yeah, just chill and just listen to me read, please. This is just a psychology. It's now a psychology stream. You're just taking a psychology class, yes. Nice winning in life is good. Oh, yay, that's super duper nice. But it's not just energy and will. Yanos have a unique way of expressing themselves that sways their listeners. They often use vivid and colorful imagery when they speak, which appeals to all five senses and creates an impression that is felt by the whole body. Without even knowing it, many Yanos are skilled rhetoricians. They know instinctively that their ethos, the barrier of the message, is just as important as the message itself. Therefore, they are mindful of getting through to you as an individual, usually by being friendly and shaking your hand, making small personal comments, making you feel important. Many politicians are phenomenal at this. Think of Bill Clinton, for instance. He has the kind of charisma that is naturally present in many Yanos, a noticeable interest in another person, the ability to ask exactly the right questions so that others feel that they're important. Still, I'm kind of but now have more wiggle room if I get good enough in the next 3 months to get selected for bootcamp. Oh! Yes. I hope good luck. And yes, you're gonna do great at though. Yes. You've got this. You've got this. Yeah. Make sure to get enough rest though, because that is also as important. Getting enough rest helps with improving performance. Yeah. Okay. I know lots of people, all of them in fact. If Yanos aren't allowed to cultivate their relationships, they will slowly wither and die. Okay, this may be somewhat exaggerated, but the very definition of Yano behavior revolves around their ability to build relationships. The Yano traits are inspirational. They inspire those around them, and the best way to achieve this is through building relationships. A Yano knows that by far the most important factor in business, for example, is relationships. If your customer doesn't feel positively about you, it will be difficult to make any headway. Yanos know everyone. They have more acquaintances than everyone else. They like everyone. A yellow doesn't need to know a person very well before calling him his friend. Anyone who doesn't actively dislike them, they consider to be a pal. Remember that when Raz asks what is going to be done? Yellows wants to know immediately who will do it. This question is crucial for Yellows. If the team or group does not function smoothly, a Yellow will not feel well. He needs functioning relationships for him to come into his own. Conclusions on Yellow behavior. What do you think? Have you ever met a real Yellow? Famous people who exhibit clear Yellow traits include Oprah Winfrey, Robin Williams, Ellen DeGeneres, and to take some fictional examples, Pippin from The Lord of the Rings and Han Solo from Star Wars. This book kind of aged badly, but you know what? That we don't. We just gotta wait. When did this book got? When did it got published? When? I should check. You know what? Wait, let me see. Oh wait, 2014, 2019. First published in Sweden in 2014. Oh. So that's why the names are so weird. I couldn't pronounce some of the names. Okay. Let's see. Now we can move on to green behavior. Green behavior. Why change is so difficult and how to get around it? How are we going to do this? It's not urgent, right? The green person is the most common. You'll meet him virtually everywhere. Oh wait, let me change this. And I just gotta move this again. And just move. No, not that much. Okay. We now talk about the green person. Yes. Okay. Like this right here. Here. There you go. Okay. Green person. Yes. Talk about the green person now. The green person is the most common. You'll meet him virtually everywhere. What's the easiest way to explain who he is? Well, I would likely to describe him as being the average of all the other colors. Please don't interpret that as something negative. Keep in mind what this truly implies. While Reds are stressed performance seekers, Yellows are creative bon vivant guys, and Blues are perfectionist knights of Excel spreadsheets. Greens are the most balanced. They counterbalance the more extreme behavioral traits in an elegant way. Hippocrates called them phlegmatic people. The Aztecs called them earth people. Calm, leisurely, and easygoing are some words that could also describe them. It's just a matter of stating the facts. Not everyone can or should be extreme. Otherwise, we would never get anything done. If everyone were a driven leader, there would be no one left to be led. If everyone were an enthusiastic entertainer, there would be no one to amuse. And if everyone were a detail-oriented perfectionist, there wouldn't be anything to keep in order. This means that greens don't stick out in the same way as others do, and they often lend serenity to a situation. Where reds and yellows start off in top gear, greens are significantly calmer. And where blues get caught up in details, greens try to feel their way to what is right. If you have a green who is a friend, no. If you have a friend who is green, he will never forget your birthday. He won't begrudge you your successes, and he won't try to take the spotlight off you by reeling off his own stories. He won't try to outdo you, and he will never pester you with new and drastic demands. Nor will he see you as a competitor if you were ever placed in that situation. He won't take command unless he has been told to do so. And he won't... Just a minute, please. You might be thinking, that's just a lot of things he doesn't do. So what does he do? You can't ignore the fact that greens are more passive than others. They're not as driven as reds, not as resourceful as yellows, and not as orderly as blues. This describes most of the population. For this very reason, they are easy to do with. They let you be yourself. They don't demand much, and they never kick up a fuss unnecessarily. Children with green features are usually described as being little angels. They eat what they're supposed to. They sleep when they're supposed to. They do their homework when they're supposed to. But it's not just that. Greens will not offend people if they can avoid it. They would rather not offend anyone at all, and they won't talk back if the boss makes a strange decision. At least, not to his face, that is. During the coffee break, it may be somewhat different, but more on that later. They usually strive to fit in, which makes them more balanced people. They are ideal for calming down confused yellows, for example. They are excellent at warming up blues, who, on occasion, can indeed be a tad too cold. We often hang out with a family where the husband is yellow and loves to horse around and take center stage. He comes up with amusing games and is more than happy to answer any questions himself. Everyone else is his audience, and he never steps out of the spotlight. His wife is green, calm, composed, and as laid back as can be. When he jumps around and frolics, these are middle-aged people. She sits quietly on the sofa and smiles. She's just as entertained as everyone else by his antics. When I ask him if she ever gets... I ask her... No, don't, put me down. When I ask her if she ever gets tired of her comical husband, she sometimes replies quietly, but he's having so much fun. This is a typical green trait. They are very tolerant towards other people's more singular behavior. It's the picture. Why are you throwing boba? No. No. I do want boba, but it's 9 already. I cannot drink boba without not being able to sleep. This is a typical green trait. They are very tolerant towards other people's more singular behavior. Is the picture becoming clearer? Greens are the people you might not think about. Most of us, that is. Some simple basics. Green people are kindness personified. You can expect a helping hand whenever you need it. They are pronounced relational people who will do everything within their power to save your relationship. And they will invest lifelong. They will keep track of when your birthday is, when your partner's birthday is, when your children's birthdays are, etc. It wouldn't surprise me if they even know when your cat first saw the light of day. It's often said that greens are the best listeners, and this is true. A green will always be more interested in you than in himself. And if perchance he should be interested in himself, he would never dream of showing it. You often find greens in the public sector, where they help others with no concern for personal gain. Personal gain? Persona gain? No. Wait, no. I do not have a persona brain, I swear. Okay. They are also pronounced team players. The team, the group, the family, always comes before the individual. And I would even say that societies consisting of greens will always take care of the sick and the weak. They will not leave a friend in need. You can call them at any time. They always offer a shoulder to cry on. Change isn't their greatest strength, even though change isn't completely foreign to them. If you can simply justify the change and give him enough time, even a green will be prepared to try new things. But a green will remind you that you always know what you have, but you never know what you might end up with. The grass is not automatically greener on the other side, so to speak. Green people often see themselves as friendly, calm, reliable, considerate, pleasant, patient, predictable, stable, team player, discreet, thoughtful, and good listener. Those are the green people. Okay. Kick. Do I also have to readjust my camera? Maybe just a bit. Just a tad. Okay. Just that. Just a bit. There. The best pal in the world. As I've already said, these are naturally friendly people. When they tell you that they sincerely care about how you're doing, you can trust that they lie awake sleepless for your sake. Just like yellows, greens are relationship people, and their interest in others is genuine and authentic. If you ask a group of people if anyone is prepared to lend a hand, and no one steps up to help, a green will jump in and shout, "Choose me!" Why? Because he didn't want to leave you in the lurch. He knows that if you don't get any help, you'll feel bad, and even though he can be passive, he's always prepared to help a friend. I still remember a young woman I worked with at a consulting firm years ago. Admittedly, Maya was certainly blue as well, but above all, she was green. Her problem was obvious. When someone asked for help, she always said yes. Every time. It was difficult to find her desk due to her workload, but she organized everything in the end. We could always rely on her assistance, handling other things the rest of us had simply forgotten about. She had a warm and friendly smile, so we asked her to work in reception and have the first contacts with new clients. She never failed to serve coffee, fix the cushions, or keep track of how long clients had been waiting. Maya never forgot anyone's birthday or anniversary, or their wives or children's for that matter. She frequently sent short emails to all of us stressed out consultants, reminding us that we had families who also needed to be looked after. Sure, we could take care of our own lives, but in her kindness and thoughtfulness, Maya went out of her way to help. It was natural for her, and whenever we asked her to take it easy and take care of herself for a change, she almost felt offended. She wanted to take care of us. It simply made her feel good. Of course, there were limits, and Maya constantly ran the risk of someone taking advantage of her huge heart. But when properly balanced, this selflessness is a beautiful quality. Greens do this naturally. When having coffee, it's quite normal for you to ask the people with you if they would like a refill. When other counters would likely take their empty cups to the coffee maker, Greens would simply fetch the coffee carafe and refill everyone's cup. A Green wants to stay on good terms with everyone, so he will even help people who he doesn't really like that much. Otherwise, there might be some kind of hullabaloo. He thinks well of most people and is confident in others' abilities. Sometimes he does this so intensely that it ends badly, but normally that's the fault of the other person, not the Green himself. He is so good-hearted that now and then others can take advantage of him. Nase, a good friend of mine, is a truly genuine friend. It makes no difference how much he has to do. If anyone needs a helping hand, Nase is there, ready to support him. Sometimes, in Nase's eagerness to help with others' work, he even forgets to do his own. On weekends, he drives his own and others' children everywhere they want to go. He helps people move. He lends out his tools without people even needing to ask. He listens if you call and complain about something. This all takes a huge amount of time, but he enjoys it. Once they've said they would do something, you can rest assured that it will be done. If a Green says that he would do something, you can be confident that he will do it. If it's in his power to deliver, he will. It won't be done in the shortest amount of time possible, but it will show up in your inbox roughly within the expected time frame. Greens don't want to be caught failing to deliver, as this might cause trouble for others. And because they're good team players, they don't want to do anything that can cause problems for the team. Team comes before self, the team being the company, crew, football team, or family. For the Green, it's natural to look after everyone else around them. The reason why everyone works so well with Greens is a topic for debate. In some situations, it's simply because they don't like conflict. Mostly, however, it's because they're controlled by the desire to make those around them happy and satisfied. If they can please you with a job well done, they will do it. The desire to please others verges on being a driving force for Greens. It comes naturally and requires no effort. And this selflessness is accompanied by an exalted serenity that lowers the stress level of those around them. We don't want any unpleasant surprises. It's good to know what's going to happen every time. You can always count on a Green person. In some organizations, it's a requirement to have reliable employees. Creativity and ingenuity are not at the top of the wish list. In short, you simply need people who understand the job and get it done without a lot of fuss or drama. Then you hire Greens. They constitute the stable core who will do the job well. They don't have problems taking orders, as long as the orders are formulated in an appealing fashion. Greens enjoy stability and a certain predictability in the workplace, or in the home, or with the family, just about everywhere. Whenever trouble is brewing, maybe due to a recession or when new managers take over, we'll see all kinds of interesting behavior in the group. Rats who never listen to the whole message just rush off to do what they believe needs to be done. Unless, of course, they're busy yelling at the management because they don't agree with their decisions. Yano starts wild decisions and inform absolutely everyone about their take on what happened. Instead of working, they'll debate the news until it's time to leave the office. Luz will sit at their desk and begin the bureaucratic paperwork, formulating 500,000 questions that no one knows the answers to yet. Greens, they just murmur. If the management has avoided seriously sabotaging their sense of security, they will trundle on without complaining. There's no point in making a lot of fuss and bother about it. Might as well keep doing what we were before. This, in fact, makes things much easier. We'll get to how we help Greens to change direction, but they're great at keeping calm and carrying on. You will always know how a Green will respond to some questions because he doesn't change his opinion very often. A few years ago, I coached Gregor. He had been a CEO for several years, and his management team consisted solely of Green middle managers. He used to enjoy playing a little game when launching new ideas. He wrote little notes with the answers he thought he would get from each person. No from Anna, yes from Stefan, maybe from Berto. Right every time. Gregor knew them very well and knew how they would react to his proposals. This wouldn't have been the case with Janos. They don't even know how they're going to respond when opportunities arise. Exciting, sure, but it's exhausting for those around them. With Green Associates, however, you don't need to worry. Okay, you know what? Let's do a Freeman ad. That is what we shall do. Let me just do this very quickly. And just let me just do that. And then just write this. BLB. Free. Wait, no. Frick. There you go. Just very quickly. There you go, yes. And then so let's do that very quickly. And I'll just be here. Yes.
Tea, welcome in. Wait, yeah, this is still going on.
Okay. Yes. There's a quick minute break, yes.
Then let me just get rid of this. Yeah, no tea, I hope that you had a very nice morning. Oh, you're having a nice morning. Welcome in. I'm just reading a psychology book called Surrounded by Idiots. As an idiot myself. I've already been an idiot for at least 12 times straight. Oh, hey, wait, I got a new spirit. Let me go get that. Oh, okay. He's a cute one as well. This is also the last of the new spirits here. He's good, very good. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm tired. Yeah, just rest up. Yeah, rest up and sleep. I don't know, get food and all that. Yeah, if you can. Yeah. Just try to rest for a bit longer. Okay. Okay. Now let's go back to the Yenos. Also, why do I have? Okay. Hang on, just have to respond this one. Oh yes, Yenos. Who, me? Wait, no, it's Greens today. It's Greens now. Okay. And then me. Oh god, I have to add to the idiot counter again. Where is that counter again? I need to find it. This is the second time. This is the 14th time I've been an idiot. So where did it go? Okay, there it is. 14. Okay. Yeah, just relax. Listen to Lofi and just me reading psychology stuff. Last night went on for a bit too long. Oh, yeah. Just have to sleep for a bit then. Yeah. Just rest. I mean, it's Sunday, so just gotta rest. Okay. Who, me? I'm not important. Forget that you even saw me. For every green, the group will always come first. Team before self. Remember that. This is a fundamental truth for a green, and it shouldn't be challenged too strongly. The working group, the team, the club, and the family. All these different groups are important for a green. He often disregards his own needs if the group gets what it needs. You may think that groups consist of people, and if each individual is satisfied, the group as a whole will be content. This might happen, but then the focus will be individual rather than collective. The way a green sees it, if the group feels good, every individual also feels good. Here the green's thoughtfulness becomes apparent. He has infinite regard for those around him. This is partly the reason why it's difficult to get a straight answer from a green. He's always trying to satisfy everyone else. Let me tell you a rather striking story. One Sunday a few years ago, a colleague whom I didn't know that well called me. I had only been working with Christopher for a few months, but I hadn't really figured that guy out. So when he called me one Sunday morning, I was surprised. I saw who it was, but I had no idea what he wanted from me. He greeted me pleasantly and asked me what was I doing. I had just bought a new house at the time and was busy renovating. Christopher asked what was on the agenda this particular Sunday, and I remembered that I said I was worried about the boiler. It was early winter. The temperature was just below freezing, and one of the circulation pumps didn't really work as it should. Because colder weather was definitely on the way, I wondered if the pump could cope with a major cold snap. Being a green, Christopher asked a number of questions and gave me lots of good advice. He had once had a similar boiler, and besides, he knew a plumber whom he might be able to ask to come by and have a look. If I was interested, of course. Christopher and I chatted for a while, and I became increasingly puzzled about why he had actually called me. He asked me where I lived. I gave him the address, and he promised to write it down and give it to his plumber friend. Then it's a kind of by the way. He asked me if I had any plans to go into town that day. I lived about 25 miles from the office and hadn't intended to go to work that Sunday. I explained this to Christopher. What? Nani? What?
We chatted a little while longer, and in the end, I finally asked him straight out what he really wanted. Then he revealed that he was standing outside the office in his t-shirt because he had accidentally knocked himself out when he had popped out to refresh some lunch. I looked at the thermometer. 30 degrees with night snow. We had been talking for about 15 minutes. I got into the car and saved him from freezing to the bone. I'm assuming the 30 degrees is Fahrenheit? What is it that in Celsius? Oh, hi, back. 30 Fahrenheit. 30 Fahrenheit to Celsius. Oh, that is -1 degrees. Damn. Okay. That is freezing. Everyone else is more important. Agree never ask for anything. I know exactly what you mean. They say greens are introverts, that is, that they're active in their inner world. This means that they don't talk just for the sake of talking. When you're quieter than those around you, it's natural that you listen. And greens will listen. They're interested in you and your ideas. Unlike reds who only listen when there is something to be gained from it. Or yellows who usually don't listen at all, although they will normally deny this fact. Greens hear what you're actually saying. They have a genuine ear for human problems. They might not offer any suggestions or solutions, but they understand what you've been told them. Don't assume that means they agree with you, but they're good listeners. Yeah, back is partly because of how hot it is. Damn, that sucks, that sucks. So far, you have properly tried to puzzle all the pieces together. Where do the different colors fit in? What kind of job would be best for each of them? These are good questions, even if there are no simple answers. One observation that often arises when I work with these issues in different organizations is that reds, and yellows in particular, must be good at retail and selling. That is true for sure. But greens are often overlooked. We always teach salespeople to talk less and listen more, something greens already do quite naturally. Hanina was a seller I coached a few years ago. She was green and very gentle in her ways. Most people didn't understand how she survived in that daunting industry. But I have a theory. She once told me about a time when she met a tough chief executive everyone had tremendous respect for. No one in the entire company had managed to sell anything to him. But after coaching from me, Hanina was determined to have a go. So she arranged a meeting. They ran into each other in the parking lot at the restaurant where they were to meet for lunch. The stern executive cruised into the lot in a vintage car from the late 60s. Beautiful, shiny, and obviously very special. Hanina said the only thing she could think of. Wow. Do you like cars? Asked the executive before they had even greeted each other. Hanina nodded. He told her about the car, how much he had spent to restore it, the paintwork and alloys, the engine. He showed her what it looked like under the hood. Hanina nodded and murmured approval, and hoped he wouldn't ask her any questions, since she couldn't tell the difference between a Ford and a Chevrolet. Chevrolet? But she didn't interrupt, she just listened. After that, it was easy. They sat down and he asked to see the sales agreement. How did she do it? By doing nothing at all except for one thing, listening. He signed before the food was even served. Conclusions on green behavior. Okay, do you have any greens in your family? Highly likely. Mr. Rogers, Gandhi, Michelle Obama, and Jimmy Carter are some well-known people with elements of green. And yes, Jesus. There's a guy who knew how to help others. Yeah, we just earned the green. Yes. Okay, and then we are now on the last person. See, do I see what now, huh? I see nothing. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we should have enough time to finish the blue behavior, yes. Blue behavior. In pursuit of perfection. Why are we doing this? What's the science behind it? The last of the four colors is an interesting fellow. You've probably met him. He doesn't make a fuss about himself, but he does keep tabs on what is happening around him. While agreeing will just go about the flow, A blue has all the right answers. In the background, he analyzes, classifies, evaluates, assesses. You know you've met a blue if you visit someone's home and everything is organized in a particular way. Clear labels and names on each hook so that the children will know exactly where to hang up their jackets. Dinner menus divided into 6-week intervals to ensure a balanced diet, stuck on the refrigerator door. If you look at his tools, you'll find that everything has its own spot and nothing is out of place. Why? A blue DIY guy always puts things back where they belong. He is also a realist. He sees errors and he sees risk. He is the melancholic who closes the circle of behavior. Reserved, analytical, and detail-oriented are some words you might associate with a blue. So wait, I have to just move this one down. Put this here. Yes. Yeah, it's right there. Okay. And what's that? Oh, at least that one. Okay. You know what? Let me just write that down as well. Wait, no, not that one. Here. Yes. Why? Where is it? There you go. Excuse me, but that's not quite accurate. We all have a friend like that. Think about it. You're sitting in a restaurant with your friends. You're discussing cats, football, or space rockets. Someone throws out a random comment. It may be your red friend who claims that the Patriots have been to the Super Bowl 11 times. It can be the yellow who cheerfully claims that as a child he lived in the same block as Will Smith in West Philly. Use the move tool so that I can say that. Show that we're doing this one, the blue one now. Yeah. Your blue buddy clears his throat and in a gentle voice says that the Patriots have actually only been to the Super Bowl 10 times, with their first appearance after the 1985 season and 8 times since 2001, and that Will Smith actually grew up in Winefield, which is well north of the block in question, and a half-hour walk from the lovely Centennial Arboretum. In addition, without blinking an eye, the good friend adds, it's interesting to note that in the Super Bowl pre-game coin toss of the past 51 games, the outcome has been tails 27 times and heads 24 times, and based on past statistics, the winner of the coin toss is slightly less likely to win the game overall. Oh wait, kind of. Oh god, I wasn't reading. Yes. Hello, Kairu. Yes. I'm also now. Oh god, let me just add. I am the idiot. That. How many times is that? I have to add 2 to this. Okay, 15 times. I am the idiot for 15 times today. Crack. Okay. You just have to give up, boys. This guy simply knows everything. He doesn't make a big deal about it, but his way of presenting facts makes it difficult for you to call them into question. He knows where he found the info and can go fetch the book to prove it. You're never... I am idiot, yes. It's not. You know what Matude said at the start? The idiots are the friends we make along the way. So, I am the idiot, Nori's the idiot, you're also an idiot, Sunny. Affectionately. Affectionately, we're all idiots. That's the way it is with blues. They know how things stand before they open their mouth. They've googled, read the owner's manual, and checked the dictionary. And afterwards they present a report in full. But an important thing to note. If the question doesn't come up, it's unlikely that your blue buddy will say anything on the subject. He has no need to tell everyone about what he knows. Of course, a blue doesn't know everything. No one can. But you can usually bank on the fact that what he says is correct. What? We're not friends anymore. No! remove the slash J, bro. I know you mean. Oh god. Yeah. Affectionately, we are idiots. Yes. We are all stupid here. And that is... We are all a little dumb. And that is what we need in order to survive.
What?
Okay, blue people often see themselves as accurate, cautious, correct, detail-oriented, logical, methodical, orderly, quality-oriented, reflective, systematic, thorough, and unassuming. Did you notice anything about the art above? Of course you did. This time I listed the different characteristics in alphabetical order, something a blue would certainly appreciate. However, I might get in trouble because I don't discuss each and every one of these characteristics individually on the subsequent pages. To all blue individuals who are reading this, who have properly jotted down a little note in the margin to go to my website to look for possible explanations for this blunder, I just want to say that I didn't mean to cause any strife. It's not a big deal, I was just doing my job. How can I know it or be unassuming? It's impressively modest to avoid making a fuss, even if you know everything. It's rare that a wholly blue person would feel the need to stand on the rooftops or to toot his own horn in order to make it clear to the world who the real expert is. It's usually sufficient that you, the blue, are clear about who knows best. There are downsides to this modesty. More than once, I've stood in the middle of a crowd of people, as we all tried to puzzle through a problem together. On one such occasion, a blue came forward after 2 hours and casually pointed out the answer. For him, it was never really a problem at all. He knew a thing or two, but because blues so often miss the big picture, they don't always act immediately. I asked him why he didn't say anything 2 hours earlier, and like a typical blue, he said, "Well, you never asked." It would be easy to feel aggravated by such a comment, but at the same time, I understood him. It's more my problem than his that he wasn't invited to join the discussion. He knew that he knew the answer, and that was good enough. There's also no need to cheer, applaud, or call Blue up to the podium when he's done something tremendous in an amazing way. Sure, it doesn't really do any harm to cheer. He will just nod, accept the praise and the price check, and then return to his desk, where he will continue working on the next project. He may as well wonder what the fuss was really all about. He was only doing his job. Excuse me, but where did you read that, and what edition was it? A blue can rarely get too many facts or have too many pages of fine print. People say that God is in details, and I can imagine that it was a blue who first said that. No detail is too small to be noticed. Cutting corners is simply not an option for a blue. Hold up, you might say. Not keeping track of every single tiny detail isn't really the same thing as cutting corners. But if you ask a blue, it is. Not having full control is the same thing as not having any control at all. What do we get by cutting corners? How can you possibly justify it? It doesn't work like that. Tell a blue that he can ignore the details of the new contract and skip the last 30 paragraphs. There's nothing important in that bit, and he'll stare at you very attentively and wonder about your mental capabilities. As usual, he won't necessarily say anything. He'll just completely ignore what you said. He would rather burn the midnight oil checking all the facts of the case than miss the slightest detail. A few years ago, I tried to sell a leadership program to the CEO of a company in the packaging industry. He was blue, there was no doubting that. His emails were long-winded and a little dry, and for our first meeting he had set aside 15 minutes. Not an hour, not for 3/4 of an hour, but 15 minutes. There was a reason for this. After the meeting he would have lunch, and the dining room was 8 minutes away, plus a visit to the gents for about 2 minutes. A 15-minute meeting would get him there right in time. The first time we met, he deposited me in a specific chair by a specific corner at the visitor's desk. He didn't ask if I had any difficulty getting there, which I did. The address was totally impossible. He offered neither coffee nor tea. He didn't smile when he greeted me. He examined my business card very carefully. After going through the company's needs, I explained that I would go back to my office to put a quote together. Once back at my desk, I brooded about how I should go about it. Normally, my proposals were 10 to 12 pages long, but I knew that wouldn't be sufficient in this case. Instead, I put my nose to the grindstone and wrote over 35 pages. I mailed a hard copy of the quote to him, since for Blue, the written and printed word means much more than the spoken, or digital. After a week or so, I followed the whole thing up with a phone call. They were interesting ideas, the CEO said, but he was ready to go further. Could he now get a full coat? What he actually said was, "Is there any more material?" I remember scratching my head. In my opinion, I had described the program rather well in the proposal. Each stage had an agenda, a clear goal, and a defined purpose. I'd given some background information, references, and citations. As a seller, you can't give up, so I was back at it, adding every detail I could think of. The second time, I put together at least 85 pages, each item broken down into 2-hour intervals, even more background, sample exercises, analysis tools, templates, the works. Details on a level that would have made a yellow throw up. Faced with myself, I sent over the whole caboodle. It took several weeks before I heard from the CEO. I asked if he was ready to make a decision, and he asked, "Is there more material?" Well, this time he wanted to come to my office. For 90 minutes, we sat on the same side of the table in the conference room at my office and went through the table of contents in the proposal. He had drawn up the general terms and conditions, read the fine print, on legal paper, and each section was full of questions and notes. Afterwards, he said with a totally expressionless face that it was the best meeting he had been at for a long time. But what he really wondered was, is there any more material? It's not about myself. I feel welcome in. Yeah, we're currently at the last part of the ASMR, I guess? Yes. This book describes like 4 behavior types. I've just gone through the first 4. And now I'm on the last one, the blue one, which is the analytical one. Yeah. Okay. I sent him off and sat down for a while and pondered. More material? No problem. I shared the whole training folder. This was before e-learning and virtual classrooms. At least 300 pages covering every 15-minute session during the 15 days of training in 5 different stages of leadership. This was all the material there was, even with information about when coffee breaks should be slotted in, exactly what questions should be asked of the individuals during training, how the room should be furnished, the works. I can certify, there were no gaps. I thought that if I took all this and rammed it down his throat, he would be satisfied at last. After a month, he asked if there was any more material. There was not. If I cause you an idiot ASMR? No, obviously not. This is the I am the idiot stream, because I keep missing words, okay. A common misconception is that blues are unable to make decisions, but that's not the case. It wasn't that the CEO was pushing the decision into some time in the future, or that he couldn't decide. He simply had no need to decide. For him, the process leading up to the decision was significantly more interesting, and he just wondered if there was any more material. Why some people have to sleep on things for so long, you wonder if they've gone into hibernation. The preceding example also illustrates another important characteristic blue behavior. They are generally very cautious. They often think safety first. Where a red or yellow would take a wild chance, a blue will hold off and consider everything one more time. There may be more factors to take into account, right? You need to get to the bottom of things before you act. This can manifest itself in various ways. It's a fact that for the blue, the trip is more important than the destination, exactly the opposites of a red. Obviously, this amount of caution can result in no decisions being made at all, and it also means that blue rarely take any major risk. Never taking any risk ensures a predictable life. We can probably agree on that. I'm not saying anything about how exciting and inspiring it would be. I'm just stating the facts. Sometimes a blue can even completely refrain from starting something because he can't assess the risk. I once met a blue sailor who had trained as an engineer. His motto was the best do is often the one you didn't make. Risk assessment is a complex thing, and who knows what dangers are lurking out there. A blue generally solves everything by creating advanced systems that manage the possible risks that may arise. They set 3 alarm clocks. They leave 2 hours early when one would be enough. They check and recheck the children's backpacks before school in the morning. even though they packed them the night before and no one has touched the backpacks during the night. They triple check that the keys are in their pockets, and of course they are. Where else would they be? The benefits of this are evident. Blues won't be taken aback by unexpected events in the same way others would be. And in the long run, they save a lot of time. It doesn't matter if it's easier, it's still not right. Things can't be allowed to go wrong. That's all there is to it. Quantity is all that matters. When a blue individual thinks his work runs the risk of being shoddy on no quantity, things come to a standstill. Everything must be checked out. Why has the quantity declined? Running the risk of generalizing, I would say that a fair number of engineers have distinct blue traits. Accurate, systematic, fact-oriented, and quantity-conscious. I can't know for certain, but I would imagine that Toyota, the Japanese car manufacturer, probably has a good proportion of blue engineers among its employees. They have a policy that you must always ask why 5 times to ensure quantity and get to the heart of the issue. I would say that this is a typical blue approach. In addition to the Japanese mentality, which is very long-term and rather blue in expression. So let's say someone discovers an oil stain on the floor. A red approach might be to lambast the person closest to him and then order him to mop up the stain. A yellow sees that stain and then forgets it, but 2 days later is surprised when he snips on it. The green also sees the stain and feels a little bit guilty because it poses a problem and everyone is ignoring it. A blue would ask, why is there an oil spill? The answer may be that a gasket is leaking. The answer, of course, is unsatisfactory for a blue. Why is this gasket leaking? Because it's poor quantity. Why do we have poor quantity gasket in the factory? Because the purchasing department was told to save money. We bought cheap gaskets instead of tight-sealed gaskets. But who asked us to save money and compromise on quality? This is the way he goes on. Maybe the problem will resolve itself. Maybe we will get a report of what went wrong, but nothing is done to fix the problem. In the end, the blue solution might be to review our purchasing strategies instead of just mopping up the oil on the floor. My point is, a blue is prepared to dive deep to get everything exactly 100% correct. Blues argue that if they're going to do something, they must do it correctly, and vice versa. If a task isn't worth being done properly, then it's not worth doing at all. Furthermore, because blues usually find it difficult to lie, they will always point out the defects they uncover, even defects that may reflect poorly on them. I clearly remember discussions my parents had when I was a child. We moved from time to time, and usually a house had to be sold, with everything that entailed. Dad, the engineer, would, of course, do all the work himself, and he managed the viewings personally. My mom was always upset that he began each viewing by pointing out all the flaws and shortcomings of the house. It leaked here and there, and some paint had flared off behind the sofa. Why are you telling them that? My mother wondered. Because this and that is wrong, Dad replied. Sure, but do you have to tell that to the prospective buyers? Now they may never want to buy the house. He didn't understand the problem. As a very honorable and honest person, he couldn't hide the faults he knew were there. He could live with the fact that we rarely made a huge profit on those deals. He had been honest about the house, because that's how it should be done. Okay. 4 more pages, yes. Okay. If the trail doesn't match the map, there's something wrong with the trail. Logical and rational thinking is critical to a blue. Out with all the feelings, as much as possible, and in with logic. Of course, blues can't turn off their feelings completely. No one can. But they like to say they use rational arguments when making decisions. They value logical thinking highly, but they can very easily become depressed when things don't go their way. And depression has nothing to do with logic and everything to do with feelings. Few people can repeat the same task an infinite number of times in exactly the same way like blues can. They have a unique ability to precisely follow instructions to the letter without questioning, provided they understood and approved of it in the beginning. How do they do this without getting bored or careless? Well, it's logical. If a particular method works, why change it? While a yellow or red would find new ways of doing something simply because they were bored, a blue repeats the same thing time and time again. Consider how a blue would put together a piece of furniture from IKEA. If there's a manual, then of course you have to read it thoroughly before you start. Reds, confident that they can easily do this, start screwing and putting everything together, without even looking to see what's in the rest of the box. Yellows tear everything, exclaiming that it's going to be great fun to get the furniture in place. They live in the future and can already see a clear picture of the new cabinet on the white wall of the bedroom, with Grandma's tablecloth and a lovely vase of tulips on it. They put each part together a little bit haphazardly, without much effort. They were screwing a few screws where it looks logical, only to skip to another part of the cabinet. A green DIY guy leans the enormous box against the wall and has a coffee break. There really isn't a hurry. What does a blue do? He reads the instructions twice, examines what everything looks like, and confirms that the different pieces of the new cabinet match the pictures in the instructions. With a slightly damp, not too wet cloth, he carefully wipes down all the different parts because they are likely to be dusty. He tallies the number of screws in the box so that he will not be surprised at the end if anything is missing. And if there are any parts left over, he may very well take the whole thing apart again. It may take a little extra time for a blue to put together his cabinet, but once it's done, you can be sure that it was done forever. Listening to this while playing Genshin is an experience. I see. You're just playing Genshin while listening to a psychology lesson? Damn. Okay. The devil is in the details. A few years ago, I wanted to renovate the patio in my yard, because I like working with my hands, in contrast to just talking each day. I thought I would do the job myself, or at least part of it. My dad, well over 70 at the time, was going to help out because he knew that I was pressed for time. Easier said than done. To provide a sturdy foundation, we were going to lay down gravel. Dad arrived a few moments before the dump truck with all the gravel. He had his own wheelbarrow with him, specifically designed to maneuver gravel, and a special shovel that he always used for similar purposes. He didn't understand why I was standing there with my regular shovel. Everyone knew that you had to use special shovels for things like this. The truck came and dropped a hefty pile of gravel in the driveway. I imagined a few days of shoveling before me, and to be honest, it made me feel a little tired. But I was ready to take on the challenge. My old dad, he picked up a bit of gravel between his fingers, smelled it, felt it, and assessed its quality. After grunting somewhat, which I interpreted as approval, he began to assess the pile itself. He measured the height of the mound with his hand. He paced how large the circumference was. I asked him what he was doing. He didn't answer, but mumbled numbers under his breath. 180 high, 5 meters in circumference, gradient, After 30 seconds, he said that there were between 8.75 and 9.25 cubic meters of gravel in the driveway. I confided to him that it was actually 9 cubic meters, exactly. Dad asked rather skeptically how I knew that. I pointed. It's written on the truck, I said. Dad was mildly impressed. I asked if he wanted to count each piece of gravel individually. He didn't deem that to be necessary. For hours, he walked around the site and packed and pressed, raked the gravel, smoothing everything until he thought that everything was in order. He used a level, plumb line, water, all the means at his disposal, so that nothing would go wrong. The gravel needed to be laid at an incline of exactly 1 centimeter per meter. Why, you ask? It says so in the book. Because he was a construction engineer, he knew the book by heart. 1 centimeter per meter. Exactly. Who knows what terrible consequences could result if you were careless about that? Consider the difference between 1 centimeter and roughly 1 centimeter. The former is precise. The latter is imprecise. Roughly 1 centimeter. It could be up 2 centimeters if things went bad. For 1 centimeter to a 2 centimeter gradient. That's a difference of no less than 100%, a huge deviation. The funny thing is, The funny thing about the story is not really the event itself, but what happened when Dad read about it in the first edition of this book. He argued that that's not how it really happened. He corrected the story on several points and claimed that this truck had held 12 cubic meters, not 9. He also insisted that he's not purely blue, and there might just be something in that. He's like that with everything. At home, if there are any technical questions about a television, a car, a microwave oven, or a cell phone, out comes the menu. He always replies. It says here that, why do you think they wrote this stuff if it's not meant to be done that way? How do you reply to that? How do you argue with the instruction manual? It's impossible to find arguments that a true blue would accept. My dad will also stop at a red light in the middle of the night, even if he's the only one within a 10-mile radius. Because that's the way you do it. The great value of this approach is obvious. He will never be fooled. He will always get what he paid for. It gives him an inner peace because he knows he had checked everything else very accurately. If you know any blues, I'm sure you will agree with me. Under normal circumstances, they're very calm and balanced, probably because they keep tabs on everything. Crying, what killing bosses in Elden Ring with this? Oh god, crying this? No, Paul! It's okay. Just destroy Sene and Tetris later. Then you will feel a lot better. Okay, the final session. Silence is gold. Silence is golden. Introvert. Enough said. I could stop there. Many blues I've met don't say a word unnecessarily. That's just the way it is. Does that mean they have nothing to say? Don't they have opinions about things? Not at all. They are just very, very introverted. Blues are the calm, stable individuals that the Aztecs equated with the sea, the elements of water. Quiet on the outside, but under the surface, anything could be happening. Introverted doesn't mean silent. It means active in the inner world. But the effect of this is often quiet. In general, my advice is to listen attentively when blues do actually talk, because they've usually thought through what they say. So why are they so silent? Among other things, it's because they, unlike Yenos, don't feel the need to be heard. Sitting in a corner and not being seen or heard makes no difference to them. They are observers, spectators, more than central characters. They can find themselves at the edge of a group, where they observe and record everything that is said. And don't forget this. According to a blues fanus, being silent is something positive. If you have nothing to say, keep quiet. Yeah, gonna get destroyed by you. No, Paul! It'll be fine, don't worry. I think all my luck is used yesterday, so today I'm just gonna suck. Yes. Okay. Conclusions on blue behavior. Do you know everything about blues? Have you identified some blues in your life? Bill Gates and Albert Einstein both used their attention to detail and meticulous nature to build their success. We also have Sandra Day O'Connor and Condoleezza Rice. And of course, from the fictional world, Mr. Spock from Star Trek is the perfect blue. All logic, rationality, and intellect, even if a few of the jokes slip past him. Yeah, okay. That is the 4 behavior types, yes. Whew, okay, let me just get rid of that and then turn that back in. Bang! This is it. Whew, okay. That is the overall 4 behavior types, and this is also it for the stream. How many pages is that? I've completed 7 chapters. I might just keep going on until I finish this book, so maybe just when I come back from my trip. So a week later, I think I might just do another one on Sunday. So that all the reading streams will just be on Sunday, because this is actually fun and I don't mind doing this. Yeah. So thank you everyone for tuning into this where is my mouse? Where did it go? Okay, there it is. Thank you everyone for tuning into this celebration stream. Once again, thank you everyone for getting me to 800. That is a number I didn't expect to reach within 1 year. Yes. Yay. Thank you everyone for listening to me speak about randoms. to read psych. Thank you everyone for coming to this 2.5 hours of psychology lesson. Yes, thank you, Laurie. That is the right message. And now we're gonna go raise Sane, who is doing his birthday celebration stream. So yeah. He is, right? Sorry, Senpai's left doing nature. How could you, damn it? Yeah, but that is all good. Yes. Yeah. So, let me get to that. Yes. I will be on Sane's stream in probably just like 15 minutes. I'm gonna be playing Tetris and then chain together with him. To celebrate. And yes, his celebration stream will go on for 12 hours. So just that's all. Make sure to wish him a happy birthday. Yes. So yes. Hope you guys have a good day, a good evening, good night. Bye bye.